This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform where you can create your own website. I do not have enough tiles to finish this bathroom. Slowly and surely, we're getting closer to the finish line. We're currently in the process of renovating an over 130-year apartment in Oslo. Right now, we're in the bathroom, which we started by tearing completely down and then rebuilt, but much larger. I mean, a little bit larger. It's still like 3 square meters. So far, we've built back up the structure, we've waterproofed everything, and the walls are completely finished with a really nice looking micro cement. Next up, tiling. We're gonna be using some large format tiles like the one I'm standing on right now. This thing is 80 by 80 centimeters big. Now, by using these large tiles in a bathroom as small as this one, you both get some downsides and benefits. The benefit is that you don't need that many tiles. The downside is that in this entire bathroom, this tile that I'm currently standing on is the only tile that I don't need to cut, both floor and shower. So I've never actually done any sort of tile work or cut any tiles before. So over the weekend, I did play around with the tile cutter a little bit, just trying it out. And for some reason, I actually managed to cut some tiles that fit. So right now, I've currently cut one, and I managed to get another piece of the rest of that tile that will go right in here. So now, obviously, these 3 tiles are by far the easiest, because even if I cut them a little bit too big or too small, I can just shimmy them around until they actually fit. Now for the other ones, I need to be precise. In addition to that, a lot of the next tiles will have to have some notches cut out to them, and they're not completely square. So what I've decided to do to help me with that, I have a bunch of these big sheets of channel plastic that was given to me by Duri. I figured that I can cut a bunch of strips of this, and I can take those strips, hot melt glue them together in the shapes of the tiles, and now if my thinking is right, I should be able to lift them off and have a perfect template for the size of the tile I need to cut without having to do any measuring. Now, I'm not really sure if this is gonna work, but it was something that I could do on a Sunday without annoying my neighbors with the noisy tile cutting saw. Talking about the tile cutting saw, let me show you this thing. It's pretty cool. So, welcome to my tile cutting station. Right off the bat, the first cool thing I have to show you is this Grabo suction thingy that uses vacuum to suck itself to the tiles, and I can now lift it up without any problem. It actually says that it sucked itself on here with over 170 kilograms. Again, thank you so much to both Table and Duri for sending me a couple of these. So now to the tile cutting itself. I've taken my template, placed it on the tile, marked where I need to cut, and now to make those cuts, Duri have kindly lent me this bad boy, which is basically a track saw for tiles. You can clamp the track to the tile, and then for water, I've got this tank, which you can pump up, connect it to the saw, turn on the water a little bit, and cut the tile. And it's just nice and smooth. So now the question is, does this thing fit? I think that will be a solid no. Try number 2. It does fit super close, but I'll take off a bit more. At least for this section, this was the hardest tile, and it matches perfectly. The rest should just be more than the same, which I have to do, and you have the joy of watching in fast forward. And the main floor, I would say, is done. We're ready to actually glue this down. But first, we need to deal with the shower area. And just like with the rest of the floor, I've made this big template. Now, you thought that these tiles were big. Well, think again, because this is the single tile that we'll have in the entire shower area. This bad boy is 120 by 120 centimeters big. And with the help of this template, we'll cut it down so we have one single sheet without any visible joints. Well, at least it's a lot lighter now. Whew. All right, I've mixed up a bucket of goop, also known as tile glue. So I guess we'll just spread a bunch of this out. And since this is such a large tile, I'll add the glue to the back side as well. And then we just try and pull up this whole thing down. And with the help of this vibrating tool, we'll set it in place. That was just a bit more stressful than I was hoping for. Trying to both get full coverage underneath the whole tile, as well as adding enough tile adhesive so that it gets the right height relative to the drain. I think we're good. So now the rest of the floor, which hopefully should be a bit easier since the tiles are way smaller and there's not that much stuff to worry about. Quite a bit has happened and everything's now covered up, but to get to the point of what's now underneath this covering, well, tiling is maybe a little bit harder than I expected, and it's about to get a lot harder from here on out. So let's rewind just a little bit to where we laid the tiles on the floor. Although it was a bit of work, the first big tile that I'm now sitting on, I'm really happy with. And then after laying the first two floor tiles, we thought, well, this isn't too bad, let's just continue with the rest of the floor and lay the rest of the tiles, which all things considered went pretty well. We were super happy with the result, everything was looking good. Then just to be sure, we decided to check again with the level to make sure that the pitch is the correct angle towards the drain, which it wasn't. The two tiles closest to the drain were actually pitched slightly in the wrong direction, which was strange because the rest of the floor turned out great. And I know that the casting itself had the correct angle all the way. But what I'd failed to consider is that after we cast the floor and the right pitch, we then added in an extra thick membrane layer around the drain, which adds a little bit of height. And we added some of this aluminum profile, which all things added up was enough to make that tile pitch the wrong way. So at about midnight, luckily we were able to just about pull those two tiles back up. It's midnight. What are we doing?
We're washing the tiles.
Why are we washing the tiles?
The fall is going the wrong way.
The fall is going the wrong way. The pitch on the floor was wrong there, so it was angled that way towards the middle. And then I came back the next morning and basically redid all that over again, this time with the combination of using less tile adhesive and cutting down the aluminum strips so it doesn't actually go in underneath the tile. We were just about able to get the pitch slightly towards the drain, which should be plenty good enough just to make sure that any stray water doesn't pull up somewhere underneath the toilet or something. All right, now on to what is going to become probably the hardest part of this bathroom, which is the tiles for the sides of the shower walls. But first, a quick ad for today's sponsor, Squarespace. So when I'm not renovating old apartments like this one, I usually make inside things like 3D printed boxes or pieces of furniture. And I sell the build plans and 3D files for those on my website. A website that I created using Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. Did you know Squarespace enabled me to super quickly and easily create my own website? It was really easy to set up, didn't need any technical knowledge. All you need to do is choose from any of their award-winning templates and get started creating your own website right away. Squarespace has the tools you need to get your business off the ground, including e-commerce templates, inventory management, a simple checkout process, and secure payments. So on my website, I sell everything from build plans to 3D files, but whatever you want to sell online, Squarespace has the merchandising features to make your products look their best. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/ALCH for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now these walls are going to be covered by some really cool 120 by 60 centimeter big tiles. And I want them to be wrapping around all the way around the shower here. And then enough with that, I also want to wrap around the front edge and a little bit onto this wall. And the way we're going to get those to wrap around is by chamfering the side edges so that two pieces end up meeting something like this. And as you can see, I've already done that with the two first tiles, which was super nerve-wracking. Not only are these thinner than normal tiles, these are actually 6 millimeters thick instead of the regular 10, but also, one, I wasn't smart enough to order any extra tiles, so the tiles we've got are just enough to cover this entire bathroom, and I don't have a single spare tile. Now, if that doesn't sound bad enough in itself, these things are special ordered from Italy. They're pretty pricey, and they take about another 2 months if I was to order more of them. And now next up, we're gonna jump right into what's gonna become the hardest piece to cut in this entire bathroom. This tile is gonna go all the way up here, which means that we'll have to make a round cutout for the water outlet here, as well as a notch in the top here for the water controls. And if that wasn't bad enough, we've also got this niche here, which means that we'll have to make a big U-shaped cutout in the tile. All three of these sides need to be chamfered inwards. And the thing that worries me the most is this little sliver of tile that we somehow have to cut a chamfer onto without the whole thing breaking off. Now, unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna get any easier the longer I wait, so I guess we'll just have to start. Well, that took an embarrassingly long time, but the result I'm really happy with. So now, naturally, onto the worst part, which is trying to glue this thing onto the wall. I think we're done. We're done. All right. Straight. Everything was going so well. We were making great progress. All the parts I'm cutting fit really well. I had already managed to both cut and glue on arguably the hardest tile in this entire project. Then I went to cut and glue on this thing, which by the way fit so well. I discovered that it was just tilting slightly too much in against the wall. Decided to fix that by pulling it off the wall and adding a bit more glue. Put on the big suction cup, pulled really hard, and well, the thing just snapped in half. Now, in case you need a reminder, these tiles have a lead time of up to 2 months, and I don't have any more of them. I do not have enough tiles to finish this bathroom. At least I didn't until this morning when I decided to pay the company that I bought the tiles from a visit on the long shot that they'd maybe have one additional tile for me. And they actually did! I got so incredibly lucky that one of the stores had one of these tiles in stock. These things normally come in packets of 2, but this one has a tiny bit of damage right there, and they just gave it to me. I didn't have to pay for it at all. So a huge thanks to Nuflor for saving my day. Not sponsored or anything, but at least we've got a second chance now that I really am gonna try to not mess up. This thing is also 10 millimeters instead of the 6 that the other tiles are. That doesn't matter at all. I've got the perfect spot for it to use it, so you won't notice the difference in thickness. I gotta be honest with you guys, I wasn't super confident that we'd actually get to this point, especially not after this first tile broke. But with the additional chance of one extra tile, we're now actually finished with all the big tiles in the entire shower. In case you're wondering, I used the thicker tile on this section because the corner here is mitered and you don't see the difference in thickness. Also, just look at how well everything lines up. Everything from this edge, meaning up here, all the gaps are perfect. Man, and I've definitely not made it easy for myself with these tiny gaps. I'm using a 1mm spacer between all of these, which is the smallest one you can use. And especially with the size of these tiles, that was quite a challenge. The next step are the tiles that are gonna wrap around the front corner here and sort of frame in this bathroom section. Now, although those tiles aren't as big, doesn't mean they're not a lot of work. I spent the better part of yesterday cutting out all of these. I've now got all 10 of these tiles. And just like I've done with all the other pieces, the easiest way I've found to create this bevel is using a diamond wheel to get it pretty close, and then a grinding wheel to grind all the way up to the edge. And I'm always using the factory edge, so that when these meet up, everything is gonna look perfect and crisp. And I just hope that this isn't as hard and time consuming as the rest has been. Try and make everything square. You move one thing, the other thing changes. That thing changes, the other thing moves. Ah. Oh man, just look at how good that looks. Those two strips really help tie everything together and make it a complete shower. Now, yes, I know, I'm not completely done with the shower yet. I still need to do all the tiling for all the 3 niches, which is gonna be a ton of work. Just this alone has over half the amount of pieces that the rest of this project had. And I still need to figure out a good way of attaching the LED strips, the same ones that I'll use up there, to the underside behind the tiles and make that look good. So all of that will have to be a future video. And obviously we've also got to do all the other things like hooking up the shower, installing the toilet, all the outlets and drains for the sink, and we don't even have a ceiling yet. But more importantly, this is what our bedroom currently looks like, and we're supposed to live here in 2 weeks. So I guess subscribe and ring that bell to see if we can manage to turn that mess into a livable apartment in about 2 weeks. Now, I can't completely leave you guys hanging like that, so let's get this room cleaned up a bit so we can sort of get an idea of the final result. I haven't even shown you this yet. This is the shower drain, which is gonna sit in here. And I could not be happier with the result so far. And I cannot wait to share the final result with you guys. But as for now, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.